Alright, today's problem is quite simple. We have an array given to us of size n, and all the elements inside this are either 0 or 1. So the binary bits of 0 or 1 are the only possibilities you can have in this array. We need to find the total number of sub-arrays in this array such that the ratio of 0 is to 1 is equal to P is to Q. Okay, so we need to find the sub-arrays having this ratio, and the count is what we have to give as an output. So find me the total number of sub-arrays which have a ratio of P is to Q for the total number of zeros versus the total number of ones. Alright, so for example, if I take P equal to 1 and Q equal to 2, that means that the number of zeros I should have, for every 1 0 that I have, I should have 2 1s. So taking an example here, this is one valid subarray. Okay, because you have 2 1s and just 1 0. Similarly, this is a valid subarray. So the count for the given input is 2. Okay, we need to do this efficiently. So the most obvious and the brute force approach for doing this is to find all subarrays with a start and end index. So this is going to be order n square. Okay, this is not going to pass our time limit. We are looking for something faster. A slightly better approach is to look at this ratio, P is to Q. So the total number of elements that we'll have in any subarray which satisfies this condition is equal to either P plus Q, okay, the number of zeros plus the number of ones, or twice the number of zeros plus twice the number of ones, or thrice the number of zeros plus thrice the number of ones. Basically, this ratio is being maintained. So it is some multiple, let us say m, into P plus Q. This is the size of the subarray that we can guarantee. Initially, you have a start index which goes from 0 to n minus 1. The end index can only hit positions, I mean, if this is I, then it can hit positions I plus, let us say this P plus Q is equal to the length, okay, the interested length for us. So it can be I plus L, or I plus 2 into L, or I plus 3 into L, and so on. So these will give you subarrays of length, which is a multiple of L, okay? And in this subarray, you have to find out whether the elements are in the ratio of P is to Q. So you can do that easily using something called Prefix Sums. You can look in the description below for an example of what Prefix Sums are. But you can find the total number of ones or the total number of zeros in this range, in the start to end range, efficiently in order 1 time. Okay, so the total number of start to end, the total number of subarrays that you'll be looking at is equal to the first I can range from 0 to n minus 1, so that is n. And the total number of n points you'll be looking at is n can go from I plus L, I plus 2L, so on and so forth. So the number of positions is approximately n by n because you're skipping L positions every time. And so the order complexity of this is going to be order n square by L, okay, which is better than order n square, but because L is an input to the question and L can be small, like L can be, let's say, 2 or 3, this is almost as bad as this approach. It's faster, definitely, in practice, but asymptotically it's not making much of a difference. Let's try to convert this question into something that we understand. Okay, when we are talking about subarrays, one of the things that we are quite comfortable with is the sum of elements in a subarray. Okay, that's what we are doing with prefix sums also. Effectively, what we are doing is we are trying to see how many ones or zeros exist. So we are trying to find a sum. Can we convert this ratio of P is to Q to a sum question? And the answer to that would be that why don't we add Q every time we encounter a 0 to our sum? So that is When we get a 0, we do a sum plus q. And when we get a 1, we do a sum minus p. Okay, so now if you get p zeros, then you get a p into q addition. And when you get q ones, that time you get a minus q into p subtraction. And this is going to be 0. This gives us an idea. What if I take the elements in my array and create a prefix sum table with it? So I get a 0, I should add plus q to it, so that will be 2 over here. Prefix sum later on, after I get a 1, will be minus p, so that is 1. Okay, that is minus 1, 2 minus 1. Now I get another 0, so that is 3. I get a 1, it becomes 2, 0, 4, 1 becomes 3, and another 0 makes this 5. And here we are seeing that the two sums, 3 and 3, create a subarray which is satisfactory for us. Okay, and the other one with prefix sums 2 and 2 create a subarray which is satisfactory to us. So there are two subarrays that we can have here. And all we needed to do was to look at the total prefix sum we had in these elements and then start creating subarrays with it. Okay, if I had another element over here with 3, then I could create subarrays with this 3 or with this 3. So that's the first observation. If an element has the same prefix sum, then the 2 points can form a valid subarray. If you both have the same prefix sum, it means that the difference in sums between you is 0 because you had q ones and p zeros. So that's the ratio that we are looking for, and therefore we should include you in the total number of subarrays that we have. Okay, now for example, if you have another 3 over here, okay, now you have 3 elements with a prefix sum of 3. How many subarrays can I create? I can use this as a starting index and create one subarray here and another subarray here. Okay, so that is 2 subarrays. Similarly, I can use this as a starting index and create one subarray over here. So that is another subarray. And finally, this as a starting index is not going to do. There's no ending index possible. So the total number of subarrays I can create here is 3. And if you see, basically I have, for any n points, I have to choose 2 points to create a subarray, start and end. So that is MC2. The second observation we use here is that the length of our subarray is a factor of L. So that is L or 2L or 3L. Now, why is this important? You could have a number in the prefix sums equal to 3. And you're seeing that now we have 3 elements having prefix sum equal to 3. So if we start considering how many combinations we can make out of this, that will be 3C2, which is equal to 3. So you can make 3 subarrays according to this. But that's not right, because the length of this subarray is equal to 2. Okay, because you will be excluding this element. So L in our case was 2 plus 1, which is 3. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 minus 1, which is equal to 3 here. That is the subarray here. On the other hand, over here, you are going to be taking this subarray when you're looking at this 3 and this 3. So the length of that subarray is equal to 2, which is not a factor of L in our case. So the way to avoid this is to only compare this prefix sum with elements having distance L or 2L or 3L or so on. Okay, and what does this give you? This gives you a remainder with L. So in our case, if you take L divided by L, it gives you a remainder 0. 2L divided by L gives you a remainder of 0. So that is remainder 0. If you take the indexes L plus 1, 2L plus 1, 3L plus 1, these are again subarrays that need to be compared with each other. They give you a remainder of 1 and so on, all the way to L minus 1 as a remainder. Okay, so you are going to be taking the indexes in this prefix sum. We'll be modding them with L to get an offset. Alright, this is the tricky bit. We are taking the offset that each of these indexes have with each other so that we compare them only with those elements which are corresponding to this index. So that's an offset. The second thing we are going to be taking is the sum, the prefix sum at this point, okay, from these offsets. And then we are going to be taking the count of those elements. So if you have 3, then it's going to be 3C2. So in the code, for every offset from 0 to L minus 1, we'll find for every prefix sum, when we sum this, we get the final answer. Okay, this is how we're going to be solving this question. It does sound pretty complicated because you're seeing a 2D map here. Basically, you have a offset inside which you have a prefix sum which is giving you the count. But if you think about it in the simple way of, hey, how do I find out all of the elements which have the right ratio of zeros and ones? Well, I'm going to be taking the sum of them to be equal to 0. How do I do that? Well, I have a ratio P is to Q. I'm going to flip it and I'm going to say Q is to P is the way I'm going to be calculating my sum. Q is to minus P. So that is the first step that we need to do in code. The code, by the way, is in the link in the description. After that, what happens is we are going to be checking for all the prefix sums which are the same. However, we can't check all prefix sums in this array. We have to have this particular distance in our subarray, which is L. So for that, I'm going to be taking the offset to which my element belongs and comparing all of those counts to give me the final summation. The order complexity of this is interesting. We have the prefix sum array, and to create this prefix sum array, it's going to be order n, because all we are doing is doing a plus q or a minus p. The other thing that we need to do is we need to populate a map of offset to prefix sum to count. And what's going to be the cost of populating this map? For every index, we know the offset in order 1. So that's easy. Okay. We know the prefix sum also in order 1. And to update this count is a simple order 1 operation. That's a plus plus. So populating this map is also order n. Finally, we need to take all of these counts. So that is M1, M2, M3, so on and so forth, and then sum them all up. So how many counts can we have here? By definition, you cannot have too many counts here because you have taken an offset, you have taken a prefix sum. Even if all of them are distinct, you're going to have one special count. So this summation is also going to be pretty fast. It's going to be order n. So overall, the time complexity that you have is equal to order n. Okay, pretty fast compared to n squared. If you have any doubts on this, let me know in the comments. Until next time, then see you.